Okay, so to start off, any truck that basically is a Class B or has air brakes will work for this. Those are the chambers for the air compressor. On this one I don't see anywhere where it's got anything you can tie off. On hammer mills it's very common to have something tied off from here. Basically there will be a T coming off from right here, and it feeds into the rest of the truck. There probably is one here somewhere where you can tie into it, but on hammer mills are so dusty you use it often to kind of spray things off. So just so you can see, on this one it's got the T that's coming off. You can tie in any standard pneumatic hose into that. This line actually goes up and feeds inside of the shred unit, and actually ties in over here. And so in this door is where we've got this unit, and after it's modified it's about 30, maybe a little over 30 inches tall. It's actually been bolted down to the floor. You can see that we've had to weld these little nubs on here so that these plates, while the driver's driving around, can slide around and they're not going to fall off. Same deal up here with this air over jack. The jack actually, if there wasn't pressure on it from the jack being extended right now, you could actually take and lift this whole thing off. It's pneumatically hooked up, like I said, right here, and I wanted them to do it with a ball valve so that the guys, because normally this hose right here has a little button that you push that will turn it on, but I didn't want that to get turned on and then have some malfunction with this hose and then have problems with the guys braking. And so we put it on a ball valve so that when it's on, they'll know it. They won't, you're not going to be able to, you're going to be hearing that, you're not going to forget that it's turned on. And they'll make sure that it always gets turned off, and that way we're not going to have any problems with safety on the braking. You'll notice on the sides of these units there was a little bit of slop in here before, and so in order to take care of that we had some plates welded on the inside here on each side, which basically just makes this whole unit right here come down continuously a lot more smoothly. Now on this one right here, what we've actually done is this has just been sharpened down to a tip. You have to sharpen it somewhat regularly if you do that. I think the better way, which the modification we need to make on this one still, is you cut this off about right here, and then what you're going to do is drill, because this whole part comes right off. Unhook it from the springs, drop that end down, it kind of pops out and you pull it out. Cut it off about right there, then drill down with a 1/2 inch bit, almost to 1.5 inches deep, and then drill a hole through the side of here and tap it so you can put a bolt in and lock in the bit that you're going to be using. And like I said, those demolition hammer chisels seem to be a good job. They're already hardened. They're often already down to a point, and so they don't require anywhere near as much maintenance. We honestly don't do a ton of hard drive stuff on the truck, and so that's probably why we haven't modified this one yet. But the other unit we've got, it's got those other bits on it. So I will go ahead and start this up now so you can kind of see what it does. Give me 1 second. If your truck's already been running, you don't have the issues that I had where you had to let it run for a second to build up the PSI. So it's not going to go quite as fast as it normally would because the PSI isn't built up all the way. But nonetheless, this will give you kind of an idea. So all we do is turn the ball valve and it starts pumping itself down. Okay, so it usually doesn't have that hard of a problem because it's got more air pressure, but nonetheless, you loosen that bolt right there, which will bring it up. Smack this thing down. It's gone, totally destroyed that plate, but we always punch ours twice. There is your totally destroyed hard drive. So here's the compressor we use. I mean, there's nothing fancy about it. This is one of those ones that stands about 4.5 feet high. Then we've got PEX tubing that we use to run it through the ceiling and then down through one of the beams that comes down to the, it's actually a 20-ton press, which comes with a 20-ton jack, but the 20-ton jack is a little bit too much, takes too much time, and so it's actually a 12-ton jack with an air-over conversion on it so that it's it's hydraulically driven, but it's run pneumatically. Here's the backside. The hose, all it does is goes down and makes a U and then comes back up into that. There's generally a little trigger on there that you use to put it down, but we found that a ball valve works a little bit better, so we've got the ball valve installed up above, and then this on here. And what we've done is that that shaft right there where I've got my hand, we drilled that out and then we put that yellow part that pierces the hard drive on there. Now that's actually a slightly smaller diameter, which is why that was wiggling around. Ideally it would be nice and tight in there, but I want to be able to pull that in and out so when that gets bent that we can straighten it, and so I've decided not to weld it in. We probably need to put some shims in of some type, but that's kind of what the deal is there. So when you loosen that lever right there I just loosened, the jack releases some pressure so it goes back up. When you tighten it, it makes it so that when you flip that ball valve, it starts converting the air over and starts pushing the jack down, and it pierces through the hard drive or the hard drives that you've got there. Now on a lot of these I've punched through two of the hard drives, so, or excuse me, two spots in the hard drive, though it's not necessarily necessary to do that. Generally when you punch it once it takes care of it sufficiently. So it takes, I mean, maybe 20, 30, maybe 45 seconds to do a hard drive if you're doing it one time. But when you consider the cost of, a $20,000 shredder, which can go through it, can maybe do 30 in a minute, you're punching through these things and destroying them. If you do two at a time, you can get to somewhere between 2 and 4 a minute. You're doing pretty well for, $1,500 maximum investment, depending on how much work you want to do. But that's kind of what we've done. It's worked pretty well for us. That shaft that we put in there to pierce the hard drives, like I say, I replaced that from a different one that got bent. I should have just straightened the other one out, but I didn't. I replaced it, and that's why that's got a little bit of play in there. Ideally that won't happen, and that's part of the reason this one gets bent, or got bent once, is because there's too much play in there, and so it's not being kept straight as you come down. But that's kind of the setup. It's worked well for us. If you have any questions,